Hey, what is up guys, it's your boy 7th here, back with another video, and today I am reviewing the Callisto Protocol. Took me a hot minute, the Game Awards was happening, I had to finish up my playthrough first of course before I review this game, and it took me a minute to debate on how I should review it, but I picked on the standard pros and cons, so I'll tell you what I like and what I didn't like, and at the end, I'll just give you my whole opinion on it. So, let's start off with the cons, and I'll put it on screen now. So about 5 cons, nothing really too bad I have to say about this game. Like I said, I was enjoying it, but there were some things, and I wouldn't really call them nitpicky, but there were things that kind of bothersome to me. So number 1 for cons is slow healing. Healing in this game is very slow. At first, I thought it was a way to be tactical, but once I started getting into boss fights or getting into multiple enemies, healing was just not an option. It's either you fight through and you survive or you die. There's no healing, running away and healing. Healing is way too slow. And now, as of recording of this video, I'm pretty sure it's been patched, but since I played through it without it being patched, I'm still gonna keep that up there. The healing was way too slow. I've seen the new healing animations. Basically, they speed it up by like 150%. It kind of looks awkward, but I wish they would just do a new healing animation, where Jacob just jabs his arm, instead of his neck, him kneeling down and jabbing his neck. That's kind of way too slow. At first I thought, maybe they're like, oh, you got to be tactical and smart, but nah, it just kind of, I think that was just kind of a bad healing animation. Number 2, on the cons list, inventory. Pulling up your inventory is a little too slow. And not only is it slow, you can't move things around. You would have to drop items, then pick them back up to get it in a correct slot. And I don't know, I feel like ever since Resident Evil has done that, like that's the standard now. Like whenever you in your item, your bag or your item cache, case, you get to move items around. This game didn't allow you to do that, and as far as I know, you still can't. But who knows, maybe in the future they'll patch it in when they bring in New Game Plus and a whole bunch of quality of life features. They're patching it now, but and we'll talk about those patches and everything. Oh man, we got a lot to talk about after I covered, the pros and cons. So yeah, the inventory is too slow and you couldn't move things around. That just, I find that as a negative, Number 3, Jacob movement. Jacob movement is just a little too slow. I get what they were going for, heavy, grounded, more realistic, like you really there, Jacob is an actual person with weight to him, but I feel like he was moving just a little too slow, and like you couldn't, until I found the option for me, which was to go into the settings and up the sensitivity. That way I could kind of quick turn or move Jacob a little, he'll move and be responsive faster, but like him just moving, it was just a little too slow for me. Number 3, dodging, which is the combat. So I actually like this combat. I've heard people complaining about the combat in this game, but I actually like this combat. It's just that sometimes dodging, the enemies will still hit you when you would dodge left or right, and it says not to dodge in the same direction twice or you're gonna get hit, so that is understood. But there will be times where I'll dodge left then dodge right and I will still get hit. I don't know whether if I was backed into a corner or the enemy AI just said fuck it, I'm gonna still kill you either way. There were moments in the game where that did kind of frustrate me. It wasn't too bad, but I was like, damn, I dodged and I got killed. So that's just one of the negatives. And the final negative is sometimes stealth in this game was very rare, and when you had the option of stealth, it didn't work sometimes. Like stealth was a hit or miss in this game. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Stealth wasn't as good. I think I only stealthed about one section. It's like, I don't know, sometimes the enemy AI wouldn't see you, or you could get real close and they wouldn't see you, especially with those creatures that only listen to sound. Stealth was working then, but if you tried to stealth between the regular enemies, it wouldn't work, bro. They will see you and they'll just start attacking you. So yeah, stealth needs work. I wouldn't say it needs work because the game, it is what it is. All they could do is build further on the next sequel or in the DLC or whatever we get in the DLC. But yeah, that's it for cons. Like I said, I don't have anything else. Anything else would be nitpicky. Now, before I move on to the pro, I do understand that and let me stress, I can't stress this enough because this game got so much hate, it was ridiculous. I do understand the game ran terrible, but on PS5, I literally had one crash, and that was through my playthrough, and it was recorded, verifiable proof, and I've had no other issues. I've had no other issues like people are having. But more on that later when I give my final thoughts and conclusion. As you can see, about like 8 or 9 pros here I got, more than cons. Like I said, this game was number 1. Now, people may feel a way about this, but I actually thought this was smart. I like the fact that there was no map. There was no mini map. Because later throughout in my playthrough, I figured it out. Going right leads you into the story direction. Going left leads you somewhere else, you know, so another room where goods, or just another path where you could find items and stuff. I've noticed that because you were always going right. The game always led you to go right. I don't know if you guys realize that or notice that. It's something I noticed, and something else I've noticed about this game is like you're descending into the depths of hell. We were always going down. It was always going further down. Like, I just wish I could have the time to do those hour-long reviews. I would really talk in depth about the metaphors I saw in this game, the messaging I saw in this game, and things like that. Glenn really did his thing. But back to the point. Having the no minimap, for me, it was fine. It was good. It encourages exploration. You know, some people say they get lost, but I don't know. I've been playing Resident Evil games, survival horror games, backtracking, so I know how to backtrack, and I remember certain areas I am. Now, sometimes did I get lost? Yes, but most of the times I knew where I was going. So the no minimap is good for me. Number 2, sound design. I recommend you, if you play this game, to play it with headphones on. It's a must. It is a must. Man, I don't know how many times I've been frightened just by little sounds, or been put on guard when I just hear something crawl on the floor, or just hear a crate, or not a crate, a vent open or something like that. Glenn and his team really took their time with the sound design. Number 3, different creature variety. Now with the creatures, I didn't put this as cons, but I'm gonna talk about the creatures. There was different creature variety, but some people say the game wasn't scary because of the creatures, because you know I think they call it the Canny Valley theory or something, or Uncanny Valley, where you're not really afraid of something that looks like you. You know, like you're familiar, you see a face. Most of the monsters were humanoid, except for that one crawler that looked like a fucking cockroach that goes invisible. But they had a decent amount of monsters. We had the cockroach that turned invisible. You had the regular prisoners. You had the quiet ones that listen, basically clickers if you played The Last of Us, where you had to be quiet around them, you had to crouch, and that's where stealth really worked, but stealth did not work for the other enemies. You had big dudes, small dudes, you had spitters, you know, you had a variety of creatures. So I wouldn't say, at first, they're scary when they catch you off guard. But were the creature designs really scary and would freak me out? Maybe if I was there. But like, I don't know. I just saw it as like, oh shit, it's a human coming at me, or it's like an infected coming at me. I didn't really see them as monsters, you know? They were like just infected people. So, you know, that's something about that. But I love the fact that there was different creature variety. Number 4, not too predictable. And what I mean by this game actually lets you know to be on guard, to let you know something is about to happen. But other times, you know, this game would just throw random shit at you. You wouldn't expect it. Like, after a while, it did become predictable where you would open a loot crate, a box, and a monster would jump out at you, one of those little slugs or squids that would jump out at you, cause you little damage and stuff like that. So it made you question whether or not you wanted to open that box or not. And yeah, I didn't seem Sometimes there were jump scares and I could easily tell when I was going to be jump scared, and there was other times where it was not. So I appreciate them not being too predictable and being scarce with their jump scares, you know, at least spreading them out. You know, like let's say you would crawl, and there was a lot of squeezing through. I've noticed that about video games now with God of War. I think it started with The Last of Us Part 2, where you had to go into an area and you would have to squeeze through, like you would have to shimmy through. I guess that's a way for the game to load in assets or things like that, but I just noticed that. But yeah, let's say you were shimmying through a wall. Sometimes you would get jump scared, sometimes you're not. But it's like you're tense all the time. The suspense is killing you. Number 5 on pros is weapon variety. There was a lot. There was the hand cannon, the trash AP pistol, the shotgun, some other revolver, and there was a light machine gun. So overall, those 5 weapons. 3 of them I didn't use. Well, one of them I used, but it was trash, which was the AP pistol. I mostly stuck to the hand cannon and the shotgun because those did the most damage, and I look for damage to put these creatures down. But weapon variety, if I could go back again, you know, play with another gun, you know, I really want to try that assault, that machine gun. But I think I'm gonna wait till New Game Plus. I don't want to have to which was kind of bothering me. But we're gonna talk about that. But weapon variety is fine. Number 6, graphics. Graphics on this game is A1 and beautiful. For me, when I did my playthrough, I put it on performance mode. The game still looked good. But then after I would do my playthrough, I would turn off from performance mode and leave it on quality. And oh my god, this game, Glenn, thank you, and thank your team for this beautiful game. Number 7, the characters were lifelike and had good performance. As you can see, Jacob's facial details were A1. You can see the sweat on his face, his little 5 o'clock shadow, little stubble, you know, his hairline, everything was just nice. Their performance, it felt like the actors gave it their all and actually tried and actually cared. So respect to them. I hope I can see them more in future games or other mediums. I did think the chick in the game, I think she was from The Boys. I think her name is Kamiko or something like that. But yeah, and finally for the pros is challenging fights. He did say in the interview that we would die a lot of times and these fights would be challenging. Now sometimes, and this goes back to the dodging, I did feel like some fights were cheap and I got jumped and outnumbered. But once you get the hang of it, it is kind of challenging, but it is satisfying after you clear out a room or you clear out an arena and you get all the rewards, man. It was annoying and frustrating. I did get upset. But not upset to the point where oh man, fuck this game, I'm gonna leave and quit. Now it's just okay, I gotta stop, think what I'm doing, what am I doing wrong, change up my strategy. And you guys can see that if you go watch my playthrough. By the way, anybody who watched my playthrough, I really much appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. That was my first time ever actually completing a full walkthrough of something. So again, I am grateful. So yeah, now that has been the pros and cons. Now is my final thoughts. And one thing they could have done also is added puzzles. There was really no puzzles in this game. All there was go get the battery pack from this room and bring it back to this room to open this door. You know, I wouldn't really consider that a puzzle. Yeah, you had enemies attacking you, it just made it difficult, but that was like a little fetch quest, you know. There was no puzzles, you know, but it would be good to have a puzzles, you know, in survival horror. So just another little thing. I won't count that as a negative. It's just something that could have been added. Maybe he'll add it in the next game because obviously they're setting up, or even in the DLC. And so yeah, that brings me to my conclusion. I recommend this game, and I don't want to give it a 1 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 stars. You know, I find those ratings kind of so I'll just say I personally recommend it at full price, or get it when it's on sale during the holidays. Christmas is very close. And yeah, man, I'm proud to support Glenn and his team. This was an amazing game. It had its issues, but overall I love the story, the acting, everything about it. Combat was new. I haven't seen this type of fighting combat since the PS2 Jet Li fighting game where using the analog sticks, you know. So dodging in other games is usually square or circle or triangle or whatever to dodge, you know. So that was fresh. So yeah, I recommend this game. Pick it up. I know it has bad PR because of the PC, but that brings into question: is PC the truly master race if it's having all these issues? Because there's so many different parts to the computer, and not everybody has the same thing. Everybody has old parts, you know. Some people can't afford the new things, you know. And even then, yeah, the game should run fine on the new hardware, but that wasn't even on Glenn. That was somebody on, well, it was on Glenn, you know, because his team, but somebody on the team forwarded out an update or forwarded out the wrong game file, you know. So the optimization was bad on PC, but the game is not terrible like people are saying. Yes, it ran terrible on PC. On console, I haven't heard anybody running through issues besides on Xbox Series S. If I'm saying that correctly, it's the low tier Xbox, the all digital one. And all I got to say to them is, what the fuck did you guys expect buying that garbage? Buy that Series X, you fucking fools. I'm not a big Xbox fan, but I would know better to get that. And I understand money situation is tight, but I would suggest you wait, bro. Or cloud streaming or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's it for me. I enjoyed this game. Pick it up. It's good. I can't wait to see what the DLC brings, because I know they're gonna, the way the story ends, it's kind of a cliffhanger, like how Dead Space 1 ended off. So we'll see what the story brings. I'm hoping they bring a horde mode, a survival horde mode, something like that. Shit, who knows? I mean, I was gonna say co-op right now, but then it wouldn't really be survival horror, and we know how that turned out with Dead Space 3 and co-op. But like the co-op could just be like, you know, the survival arena, but it don't have to be. It's a single player game. I love it the way it is. You know, it's just something that I think will be nice. I don't know. I'm just speculating on what they're gonna do for the DLC. But actually, we know what they're gonna do for the DLC, because they if you go to the PlayStation Store and look under the season pass, it tells you exactly what they're bringing. So I'm excited. Glenn, you did a good job. I know the industry is giving you shit right now because there's some weird hate campaign towards this game. It's just the bad storm, and IGN kicked off this bad storm with that fucking bullshit article saying that death animations will be locked through microtransactions or the season pass, but that's not true. They haven't even worked on it, and it is behind the season pass, but it's something extra. Everything in the game, there's a lot in the base game. These is just extra stuff that you can pay if you want it. But Glenn, I'm proud of these guys, and yeah, man, that's it for me. You guys let me know how you guys like this game, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.